Welcome, everyone. What if the best place to manufacture future materials and products is not on Earth, but in orbit? A new era of orbital manufacturing is emerging, where factories operate in the unique conditions of space to produce items that are either impossible or inefficient to make on the ground. In the next decade, companies and governments are planning to build and operate commercial facilities in microgravity. These orbital factories could revolutionize multiple industries by taking advantage of weightlessness, vacuum conditions, and constant solar power. This video explores how space-based manufacturing works, what it can produce, and why it could become a major economic engine by 2035. The primary appeal of orbital manufacturing lies in the microgravity environment. Without the influence of Earth's gravity, fluids behave differently, materials mix more uniformly, and crystals grow without defects. These changes open up opportunities for creating high-quality materials, particularly in optics, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals. In zero gravity, surface tension becomes the dominant force in liquids, allowing for more symmetrical structures and purer compounds. Many scientific experiments have already demonstrated that certain processes yield far better results in orbit than on Earth. Now the goal is to scale those experiments into industrial production. One of the most promising areas for orbital production is in fiber optics. A special type of fiber called ZBLAN, made of heavy metal fluoride glass, shows much lower signal loss when manufactured in microgravity. On Earth, gravity-induced crystallization disrupts the fiber's structure. In space, those disruptions disappear. This could lead to fiber that carries data more efficiently and at greater distances, ideal for future internet infrastructure. Several private companies are already testing ZBLAN production aboard the International Space Station. If costs drop low enough, space-manufactured fiber could become a mainstream product within a few years. Pharmaceuticals also stand to benefit enormously. In space, protein crystals grow larger and with fewer defects, making them more useful for drug development. Better crystals allow scientists to understand molecular structures more precisely, which helps in designing more effective medications. Researchers have already used microgravity environments to analyze complex proteins related to diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Orbital production facilities could eventually be used to manufacture small quantities of specialty drugs that require pristine crystal forms. This could become a high-margin application for orbital labs by 2032. Semiconductors and advanced materials are another key target. Space offers a near-perfect vacuum and a clean environment free of the dust and vibration that can plague chip manufacturing on Earth. With rising demand for next-generation chips in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and aerospace systems, any edge in purity or performance could be commercially valuable. Orbital fabs could use these advantages to produce higher efficiency components, especially for high-frequency or radiation-hardened electronics. As launch costs decrease and robotic assembly improves, it becomes increasingly viable to build orbital cleanrooms for small-batch production. Additive manufacturing, or 3D printing, is also a strong candidate for space-based use. In microgravity, printers can build complex geometries without needing support structures. This enables more efficient designs for aerospace parts, medical implants, and optical components. NASA and ESA have already tested metal and polymer three-dimensional printers aboard space stations. In the next few years, these will likely transition from experimental systems to industrial tools. Orbital printers could also help build large structures like antennas or telescopes that are too delicate or too large to launch fully assembled from Earth. Beyond products, orbital manufacturing also supports the long-term infrastructure of space exploration. Building components for satellites, spacecraft, and even space habitats directly in orbit saves fuel and expands design options. Instead of launching everything from the ground, future missions could assemble systems in space using materials processed locally. Some concepts even propose mining asteroids for raw materials and converting them in orbit into usable parts. While this is still speculative, the combination of orbital manufacturing and in space resource utilization could radically reduce the cost of deep space missions. Several private companies are already positioning themselves for this new industrial frontier. Varda Space Industries is developing re-entry capsules designed to return high-value materials made in space. Redwire Space and Sierra Space are building modular platforms that can host manufacturing experiments in low Earth orbit. Spaceforge, a UK-based startup, is working on satellite-based clean rooms with automated return vehicles. These companies are betting that certain products will be valuable enough to justify the high cost of space operations, as prices for launch and orbital services continue to fall. Their business models become increasingly realistic. Government agencies are also supporting orbital manufacturing through funding and infrastructure. NASA has long used the International Space Station as a testbed for industrial experiments. Now it is backing commercial space stations that will include private labs and production modules. ESA and JAXA are conducting joint research on microgravity materials and robotics. The goal is to develop a sustainable in-space economy that complements terrestrial industries. National defense organizations are also watching closely, as high-performance space-made materials could offer advantages in satellite resilience and aerospace capabilities. Despite the opportunities, challenges remain. Transporting raw materials and finished products adds cost and complexity. Every payload must withstand launch and re-entry stresses. Temperature extremes and radiation can affect sensitive systems. Quality control must be maintained in remote autonomous environments. Regulations surrounding safety, contamination, and intellectual property are still evolving. But these are not unsolvable problems. Many of them are already being addressed with robotic handling, automated diagnostics, and hardened designs. As the industry matures, these challenges will likely shrink in importance. One fascinating use case involves the production of artificial retinas and other advanced medical implants. These devices require ultra-precise layering of thin materials with minimal contamination. In space, microgravity enables better alignment and layering during fabrication. This allows for smoother surfaces and fewer microscopic defects, which are critical in biomedical applications. Some researchers believe that orbital environments will be essential for manufacturing next-generation implants that restore vision or assist nerve function. These breakthroughs may eventually return to Earth as life-changing technologies. There is also growing interest in producing optical components like lenses, mirrors, and prisms in orbit. On Earth, gravity can distort molten glass as it cools. In space, lenses can be formed with greater symmetry and fewer internal stresses. This could lead to improvements in laser systems, telescopes, and even quantum communication devices. The demand for precision optics is increasing across military, scientific, and commercial sectors. Orbital production could serve that niche with unmatched quality, offering a clear competitive edge over ground-based suppliers. Looking further ahead, orbital manufacturing may unlock entirely new classes of materials. Under conditions of microgravity and vacuum, scientists can experiment with novel alloys, superconductors, and metamaterials that behave differently than on Earth. These exotic materials might exhibit new electrical or thermal properties that enable breakthroughs in computing, propulsion, or power transmission. By 2035, we may see the emergence of space-native materials designed specifically for use in orbit or on lunar and Martian surfaces. The space factory of the future may not just replicate Earth processes, but invent new ones. If orbital manufacturing succeeds, it could redefine the geography of production. Instead of every factory sitting on Earth, we might see an industrial layer in low Earth orbit producing premium goods. These products may only represent a small fraction of global manufacturing by 2035, but they could carry outsized economic and strategic value. Much like early computing or satellite services, space manufacturing may begin as a niche, but grow into a transformative force. This is not science fiction anymore. The first orbital factories are already being built. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.